Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the final session of Level Up. It's been absolutely amazing week of practical conversations with focus to help you build skills, confidence, and some perspective for the world out there, which keep changing. It's great to have you. My name is Tatiana Rox. I work here at Deakin. And today's session, we're going to bring well-being to the core of your work, not something extra. We explore several practical ways to sustain energy, to avoid burnout, along with realistic routines and habits you can actually stick to. We're definitely going to have time for questions, so please go ahead and pop your questions into Q&A box down below. So today I have absolutely amazing panel with me, excellent range of experience and skills and knowledge. So I'm going to ask our panelists to introduce themselves, starting with Matt, please.
My name is Matt Cadell. I run a digital marketing agency called Arthur Street. We are also a Deakin alumni, but we aim to be an employer of choice, and we put people before profits. And wellbeing has always been a part of what we do and what we hope to do really well.
Great stuff. Jenny, welcome.
Thank you. Jenny Lyons. I am a 3-time Olympian. I work 2 part-time jobs, one at Deloitte running our athlete employment program. I also run the head of snow sports at St Catherine's School, and I'm now a Deakin student again.
Interesting, full circle. And last but not least, Tristan, welcome to the panel.
Thank you. I'm Tristan Miller, a Deakin alumni from 95. So 30 years ago, I was at Deakin, and I've been a salesperson, software salesperson these days. And I'm also a runner and a running coach. I run a lot of marathons. I coach other people to run marathons, and it's the core to the way I deal with my own well-being.
Great. So I'll hope you're all going to bring your experience into some of the answers and some of the topics we're going to discuss today. So if you don't mind, we're going to start with some questions from me, and they for everyone. So first and very important question, when we talk about career that goes the distance, what does it actually mean to you? I'm going to mix it up a bit and ask Jenny first.
Oh, okay, great. I think anything that goes the distance really comes down to it being sustainable. If you're working hard all the time, you're going to come to a head. If you're training hard all the time, you're going to be exhausted and have to be forced to stop because you'll get sick. So I think you just need to find what's going to be sustainable long term. Resting, recovery is also another one for me. Sleep is huge. So, and I've only learned that recently. So I'm a big believer now in that. So just making sure you're looking after yourself, having a sustainable job or athletic life or study life, whatever that is, it's you just can't be burning the candle at both ends.
Good approach. Matt, what about you?
I was going to say exactly the same word, that sustainable is probably the best word that comes to mind, thinking about balance and, balancing work priorities with family priorities, but also personal sort of fitness and well-being priorities as well. So yeah, sustainable and balance.
Very interesting. Thank you. And speaking about going the distance, Tristan, what about you?
I just, it's hard to remain passionate about the work that you do. But, that's okay. It comes in waves of excitement and then change, and that's great stress and all those things. So if you're not looking after yourself personally and your well-being and your energy levels and all those things, a lot of that can feel like a burden that you can't handle sometimes. But if generally you're feeling strong and comfortable and healthy, a lot of those things you can sort of weather various storms and changes and then become passionate when you need to become passionate again. But look after yourself in that process.
When you say look after yourself, any examples?
Well, I think that, for me, and I think it's very common, we were talking about this previously, before the session, but, there's a real hustle culture going on these days, and it's fed by the internet and all these people telling you how you should approach your life and your job and all those things. And that's great, but to the point of sustainability, it's wholly unsustainable to continue to hustle in every single job and keep going. Because you will run out of energy and you'll hit blockers that you're not prepared for. And so if you're constantly giving yourself the space to go for a walk, to swim, to run. I do a lot of running, but you don't have to run 5K. You could just walk a kilometre, run a kilometre. You can do stuff like that allows you to then have a form of meditation that's away from the work and away from screens and away from everything else. Then it gives you the space to think about what you want and how you approach the next problem that you're going to incur.
Great advice. So we're not going to wait until something happens. But so many of us actually only take our health seriously once something starts to go wrong. Any advice on this, Matt? What do you think? How can we prioritize our health before we get sick?
I think it's very easy to take things for granted when everything's working well. It's sort of, I was mentioning a story earlier. I've just recently sprained my ankle, and nothing makes you want to go for a run more than knowing that you can't. So it's about. It's interesting to your point as well that, finding space for yourself to really do those things that will help you, like, going for a walk. We all schedule meetings in our workplaces so often, and many workplaces have too many meetings, but we rarely schedule the time to actually just take a breather. And, I've only just probably over the last few years got into the practice of scheduling a 15-minute walk after a meeting.
So that's actually what you do. In your diary, in your work diary, you have the regular breaks or whatever your time scheduled.
Put the input in so you've actually got the time.
That's very important because time not going to magically appear. So unless it's there and if it's scheduled, you have to do it.
Exactly. Make it deliberate.
That's it. Similar approach for you, Jenny?
Yes. I feel it's easier said than done, though. I mean, I try and tell my husband all the time, just block out your diary, put it in your diary that you're going to the gym or you're going for a run or you're going for a walk, and he just doesn't do it. And I'm like, you control your diary. If you want to block something out for your health and well-being, most organisations these days are going to be totally fine with you doing that. A lot of people are very nervous about doing it. I think they're a bit unsure or they feel guilty that they're doing it. But also, too, I know your day can get just hectic and it just doesn't happen. And I feel like that's okay sometimes, but you do have to be a bit more purposeful with it and do find the time to do it. I mean, there's so much research around evidence that you taking that break, even if it's 15-minute walk to go get a coffee downstairs, is really beneficial for your work.
So prevention before anything happens, that's kind of where we're heading. And what about you, Tristan, specifically for managers? So we mentioned, I know we talk, and it was quite interesting to talk about culture shift and how we all busy, probably too busy. Any points from you?
Well, I think my brain burns out more than anything else. So I find that I have plenty of energy personally, like to keep doing things. I sometimes need a nap in the middle of the day, but I work in software and technology. As it turns out, we're all kind of exposed to it all the time. And my brain just gets cooked. Too many spreadsheets, too many numbers, too many gear shifts in the work that I do, and I can't keep up. So what I make sure I do is get up in the morning and go for a run before I start working. That doesn't have to be a run, by the way. It could just be a walk. But I do that so I'm not going straight into a work situation where my brain has to switch on and get going in that situation. I find that really stressful. And so if I get up and start moving and, I'm naturally just kind of allowing the oxygen to go through my brain and everything starts up and I'm thinking about things and I'm reading some news articles and that's depressing. So I stop reading those and then I go to work and start and get into my day. And then I do put a lot of gaps in my day, but I do work from home and I travel quite a lot for my work, but I work from home mostly. So I can create those spaces to think.
But I think it's important to understand and look through your day because I think everyone can create small spaces of prevention, taking care of yourself, meditation. Some meditate while running, some meditate while sitting or lying down. So you can choose and pick. Excellent. Thank you so much. Oh, Tristan, I have another question for you. So what has your experience taught you about how to keep going over the long term without burning out? So talking about I need to shift conversations to marathons, that is pretty amazing. So can you tell us a little bit more? What did you do? How did you do it?
So Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty interesting story in that I studied film and television at Deakin, but I, did that for a few years and realised I wasn't particularly creative, but I was good at selling concepts. I ended up in sales, insurance sales to start with, then radio sales, and those are not fun places to sell, like I'm not going to lie. So I started working in digital sales for Google. I was very lucky to be an early sort of person into that kind of organisation in Australia, and all was going well, and I was working really hard, and I'd worked hard in all of my jobs up to that point. But then the GFC happened. So the GFC, global financial crisis, a lot of things fell apart. I was working in the Rialto, and you'd go down and watch the screen, the big ASX screen at the bottom of the building, and it was all red and people were crying. And you're looking at it going, well, lucky I chose digital because it's pretty safe and I'm going to move forward. But then Google started doing the fiscally responsible thing and shutting offices all around the world. And so I lost my job. They shut the Melbourne office. There was only 15 people. It was a remote working space anyway, so it made sense to shut that one. And they kept the big Sydney office. I did get really angry for about a day or two. And then I was already running quite a lot. I'd started running because I had gone through a divorce a few years before that as a quite a young man at 28. And running was my foundation for fitness. Instead of drinking too much to escape my problems, I mostly run away from my problems. So I go running to just kind of absorb problems and deal with it and then come out the other end with a new, thing to do next. My thing to do after the GFC destroyed my career, as far as I was concerned, was to run away. I ran 52 marathons in 52 weeks in 42 countries and all 7 continents.
Absolutely.
I wrote a book about it. Yeah, but it also kind of probably speaks to my own obsessiveness a little bit. Like I was working too hard and I was absorbing myself into work all the time, but I wasn't finding ways to look after myself. Running was good for that, but then I probably went too far the other direction where I'm running all the time and kind of destroying myself by doing too much of that too. So it was a big thing for me after a few years of on the speaking circuit. Met my wife through that year. That was 2010. I met my wife and we got married and she wanted to have kids and that required me to have a real job. So I kind of went back to that with more of a view on balance and how do I do the job that I need to do to earn good money, but also continue to look after myself. And I guess I was lucky. I had a reputation. I started a running club. A lot of people joined it as a coach.
And much more recreational. So
very much so.
Yes. So balance anything you do.
Yeah.
Is that the best way, probably?
Well, I was still running ultra marathons around the world, etc. But more that they were set times that I had to be there to participate with other people in running. So I had a pattern around that where I was up early all the time. I was out running and then I'd take that energy into my work and I'd get to the end of the day and I was cooked. So I'd just go home and go to bed. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm okay with that because I'm going to get up.
when you need to.
When I need to. And that balance has really sustained me. Probably the biggest issue has been the last couple of years I've had injuries, foot injuries, et cetera, that stopped me running. And I had to really, really think about my approach to life because I'd lost that core thing that I used to do to get my balance. And I was on the rowing machine and I was cycling and doing all this other stuff, but it wasn't the same, and I've just been able to get back to running more recently. And I've really noticed my personality change again to be more relaxed and happier.
But it's good to try a few different things, until you find out what actually works for you. And sometimes when something stops working, try something else again.
You need to find something else. Yeah.
I'd like to switch to Jenny and ask her, what do people often get wrong about energy and performance? What do you think, Jenny?
Energy and performance. Well, you need energy to perform. And a lot of people keep trying to perform without the energy. I think I know quite a few athletes who don't do recovery. And as I've gotten older, I probably appreciate and understand it more because as you get older, you need more recovery days. And it's something you probably do after every session. So I sort of get into CrossFit and it's pretty hardcore training and I need to recover quite a bit after that. As an athlete, you're doing your 2 or 3 sessions a day. Part of your day is recovery because you need to show up again the next day and be fresh. And recovery isn't just necessarily hopping in a sauna or the old style for women ice baths. We don't do that anymore. Now it's a sauna or a hot tub. You can do an active recovery. You can go for a walk. You can spin on a bike. Compression boots. There's so much. It's also nutrition, hydration, sleep. All
I was
of
just
that.
about to say, do some cooking for yourself. I'm a dietitian, so of course I'm going to be biased here.
Yeah. So you need to be fueling well as well. And I think that's another thing where a lot of women have had the wrong information in the past. We've all gone to the starving or the shakes and things like that. But now the research has changed. Actually, the more you eat and you need to eat well. And you need to eat to actually lose weight and have the energy to lose weight for your body to actually burn it. So it's a lot to do.
Yep. But you don't have to do everything at the same day or start everything on one day. Yeah. It's those small steps you can integrate.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Obviously, for people starting, I would start out sleep first, number one, then definitely food and hydration. If you want to get into exercising, start small. Start with a walk, start with yoga, start with Pilates.
Great advice. Excellent. Matt, next question is for you. If we talk about what helps productivity, how do we do better? Not just work more, but actually be doing better, work better.
Yeah, I think this is something that we've sort of worked towards, the fact that, more hours doesn't mean more output necessarily. So one of the things we've done as an organisation, we do a 4-day work week, which there's a lot of talk about that now.
A lot of talk.
Many organisations have spoken about it over the last few years, but we've actually been doing it for, I think, coming up to 4 years now.
Okay.
So that's something we've done just to assist the team to just prioritise some of that, life admin, whether that's something for themselves, being health and fitness, or whether that's just with the increasing sort of load of running life now with families and that sort of thing. It's just that flexibility for people to be able to take some time to do the things that either they enjoy or they need to do. And I think that's something that we've learned has helped with part of what we do as an agency is creative. You can't sort of force creativity by sitting in an office for, 8 hours a day.
5 days a week.
Yeah, exactly. So by just having that flexibility and actually putting in, less work time sometimes, we've found there's been a lot of benefits to the agency in terms of just our team morale, culture, but also output.
Excellent. Very interesting. And again, question for you. So if we're talking about one small change workplaces can make that has a big impact on energy and well-being. Maybe not everyone as innovative and understanding as your workplace. Maybe if we're not talking about reducing days of work, anything else comes to mind?
I think, going to a 4-day work week is possibly an extreme, but just offering flexibility. So flexibility for, hopefully most workplaces now have a culture where, if you want to go for a run in your lunch break, you're more than welcome to. But I find the more we've offered flexibility, we've seen the benefits come back as a business.
Okay, very good. Anything to add here from a management perspective?
I think not all businesses will give you that space, and that's just something, especially as a younger person, you're going to have to lean into. That it will come over time. But your first workspace might not allow you to have all the flexibility that you would like.
That's an important point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Don't necessarily demand it. But if you put your best foot forward and your new boss, your current manager, whoever trusts you, you create that trust that you can do the work and deliver on that work, then they will start to give you more and more space to do your thing. I work in a business where I'm in sales. Sales never really turns off, there's not like a 9-to-5 thing going on or anything like that. And I'll work weekends sometimes. I'll be up on 11 p.m. calls, and that's just how it is. But also, I don't mind taking my morning off if that's the case. And I don't apologise for that, and I'm fine with that. But my boss expects me to deliver, and I deliver. And then there's no question around that. So you can't have it both ways sometimes. And a lot of people would like it to be both ways and expect that in their very first role. earn your space a little bit, and then you will get those things coming to you, no problem.
That's a great reminder. We do need to put a bit of work before we get kind of rewards from work. Yeah, absolutely. I like that one. And that question for everyone. How do you spot the signals or signs that you're actually doing too much? How do you know? Tristan, I feel like you have something to add here.
Oh, you're just exhausted. Do you know what I mean? Like your brain's fried. You're just not really, you become unproductive. In fact, I've noticed even recently, I have had a patch, hopefully no one at my work hears this. I had a patch where I'm working from home and I haven't been super productive, and I've got some big deadlines and things that I'm working on and everything's tracking the right way. But I was finding so many distractions in my home and other things that I would like to be doing instead of my work. And so I have a very cheap casual membership at the local yacht club, and I would go down and sit in the yacht club and stare out at the ocean and just get away from all my other stuff, where you can only sit for 10 minutes before you're bored anyway, and then you start doing your work again. And that was okay for me because I just needed to start focusing and not be distracted. But part of the reason I was distracted, I was just tired, and I didn't really have a good rhythm around how I was doing my work. And I started to do my work at night because I wasn't getting it done during the day. And that's not great. That's a me thing. That was me doing that to me. And so I just needed to kind of time box things a bit better, get myself organised. Yeah. Be very good at that, Jenny. I'm not so.
You have something to
I was just going to say, just to reflect on what you said, that I think some people expect that people are great all the time as well. And if anyone's sort of listening to this who may be, finding things difficult, that, as you said, in everybody's career, there's going to be highs and lows, and there will be times where people are finding it difficult. For me, I find when I stop sleeping. So if I get to the point where I'm getting those, 3 a.m. wake ups where you go, oh, I didn't do that thing, or geez, I've got this meeting tomorrow, I should probably think about it at 3 a.m., which is not productive or useful to anyone. That's a sign for me that it's time to actually do some of those things to prioritize my time again. And Jen, as you said, we are all in control of our calendars, but we don't really think about that a lot of the time. It's so easy to fall into the trap of, I'm controlled by meetings that are coming at me, as opposed to just, it's almost sort of interesting reflecting on, I think, why don't we actually do better?
I actually think that's really well said too. Like I've found the times that I'm not sleeping well, it's because I'm not managing my energy on my time, but like it's a real temptation to start having rest of it, or a little half a sleeping tablet, or have this other thing that just helps you sleep that night. And, that's not necessarily a great thing. Like you're suppressing your brain when it's supposed to just be doing its thing while you're sleeping. So what can you do better in the daytime that allows you to just relax and sleep at night? Like have a think about that rather than try to fix it with a pill. Do you know what I mean?
Like I'm kind of reading here, if you have clear signs like you stop sleeping or waking up, that's your sign. Anything even before that, Jenny?
Yes.
You might be a bit more intuitive with your body.
From a woman's perspective,
please.
All the stuff that we go through later in life, perimenopause, for instance, big conversation, you can't sleep half the time. Your hormones are all over the place. The one thing I notice when I'm exhausted is my kids absolutely cop it. My tolerance level is very low. Even my husband don't breathe. I at home become my patience level is just gone. And for me, I know straight away it's sleep. And because I am in perimenopause and I have a young kid, and everyone that makes a move during the night wakes me up. It all adds to it. So it for me, when I'm just depleted, I can't even go to the gym. I get there, I feel okay, I start the session and I'm like, just wiped out. And, I look at I wear a Whoop, started wearing that about 8 months ago and love it. And I'll look and go, oh, right, that's why I'm so exhausted. I had 60 whatever % sleep and my recovery was 30 something. No wonder I am just done. And I shouldn't be here. I should have had the hour sleep in instead of getting up and coming. So I love watching a health. You can get a health watch or
Yep.
an Aura or whatever
Mm.
any of those things to really monitor your health. It will give you really good insights to where you are mentally and physically.
Yeah, it's that objective kind of, science. What about subjective? What about something like checking in with yourself? I started that practice, if anyone interested, in my opinion, I started that practice early in life, and I have kind of quick check-in with myself every time when I go to sleep or first thing I wake up. And every time I have like that nagging feeling, something not going right, that's my sign. So I would say probably don't wait until you can't sleep or, you injure yourself. Do a bit of a check-in with yourself. What do you think? We probably all do that, like intuitively, do we?
Yeah.
Probably intuitively, but you don't say it out loud.
No, we don't.
You just keep motoring on.
It's almost a great process, though, to, think about it more strategically and actually make it more of a reflective process as opposed to sort of something that we do in our heads.
Yeah.
It's easy to say, it's easy to tell when things are not right.
Yeah.
Sometimes because we all a little bit more, maybe even experienced than people who are listening to us right now and watching us. So if to you it's part of a routine, that little self-check-in, maybe that's something to recommend.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people wait for their holiday to relax.
Yeah, that's
You've
true.
booked it and it's
so
like
interesting.
in next 6 months or then there's another one 6 months later and that's when you're going to find the time. And you don't because you get sick because you finally slow down. So
Yeah. You're sick on holidays.
which is the worst. And so instead, maybe it's more about what's that one thing you could do each month or every fortnight where you get away from all of the things the people asking you for something. And I'm talking about kids, but I'm also talking about work and everything else. And you have that bit of selfish time. We were effectively talking about that earlier, to make time for yourself. I call it selfish time, and I'm cool with that. It's like, that's like a negative term. I'm like, no, it's okay to be selfish.
It's
like, look after yourself.
Not. And that's what I found. So many people,
Take time out.
particularly, people who are responsible for others, who live in very stressful and busy working lives, they almost feel that taking time for yourself, it's being selfish. It's not, because if you don't prioritize yourself, your staff who depends on you, your family, your teams, they're going to suffer as well. So it's not being selfish.
But we all have access to a forest. You know what I mean? Like we
Green and blue spaces.
You just go and walk somewhere that's not, there's no one there to ask you anything. And you don't have to go overnight.
No
you just
one
go
there.
out for a
That
few
sounds
hours.
so good right
Go for a
now.
walk.
And we all have access to, I guess it's called sick leave, but at Deloitte it's called wellness leave, and we can take it for whatever we need it for.
Absolutely.
It's not for being. I actually never take it for being sick. I only ever take half. I might even just take half a day and put that in. That's my wellness. I want the afternoon off. I've had enough.
Wonderful suggestion.
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We're going to move on with more questions. Oh, Tristan, good one for you. What have you learned about when to push and when to pull back? It's all about that balance, isn't it? So pushing, pulling back.
I think I know when to push because I'm, once again, sales related. Like I've got pretty tight timelines on delivery for stuff, and I have to just get to work. And that's going to be for a period of time. And I know that's generally got an end date. It's not like I'm working hard all the time. And so in this period of time, I'm just going to have to put the energy into it. And maybe I don't get as much sleep and all those kind of things. But generally that's pretty time boxed. It'll be 3 months from now. The seasons have changed. Things get easier. Life's easier. It's either gone well or it hasn't gone well, But I think the times to pull back, I'm not very good at that.
Okay.
And it usually comes as a message from my wife.
Okay.
Or I can see when my kids aren't spending and aren't as close to me. And that's probably the external triggers you probably need to take more notice of. That if you're so invested in the work that you're doing and so invested in the pleasing everyone else because you've got to deliver on all these different deadlines and everything else, that you're irritable and the people that you love don't want to spend as much time with you, then it's time to think about pulling back and getting a bit more balance again because you're not the best version of yourself. And if you're not the best version of yourself, how do you think that's going to work for your teammates at work? you're not the best version, so then you're not fun to be around, and maybe you're a bit dictatorial or whatever it is, or you're just not delivering because you're frustrated and stressed, and everyone can feel that stress. But your family will note that, and your personal space will be affected by that. We were talking about this earlier as well. Like, I think fundamentally there are 3 different parts to your life. There's your work, your personal life, and your health, the way you look after yourself, and your personal connections in your personal life. I think if they're not going well and your health isn't going well, but everything's going well at work, I don't think that's a great balance.
It's not well.
Yeah. If you got 2 of those things right, like maybe your personal health isn't going so great, but your personal life is great and work's great, you've got something to fix there, and that's totally within your control, and that's great. If your personal life is going great and your health is going great and work's not going great, well, you know what? It might just be time to change your job. Like, that's okay. Or you could just go a bit deeper, work out some strategies to succeed. But you really have to look at those things in context of which is your best priority. And usually my work is not my biggest priority. It used to be, and sometimes it still is. But I try not to let that be the case all the time.
I don't mind that more complex approach and look at everything kind of together and think 2 out of 3 going well, it's ain't bad.
Actually going, you're going pretty good.
Yeah, excellent. Matt, question for you if you don't mind. When well-being at work is not working, where do workplace usually get it wrong? So if you look at the team and nothing is happening well there, what do you think they done wrong?
I think it's, part of culture is, like we were discussing before, many workplaces don't prioritize individual well-being. Even though there's probably parts of it that they do, often there's still the culture that work comes first. Work is important. Running a business, we have things to do.
Of course.
But, thinking about that analogy that if everybody isn't in a good place with their health, their well-being, we're not going to be the most effective at running the business. So I think that comes into play. There's other things that, workplaces don't prioritize. But I think, a lot of it just comes down to putting our sort of philosophy of leadership is just putting other people first. So if we put our team first, everything else will take care of itself. And, for us, that means giving them our team opportunities to have fitness time, opportunities to do things that they love that isn't in line with what we do, and passion projects and those sorts of things as well.
So not enough space, not enough opportunity, and not enough individual passion. Is that?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a checklist from Matt to you. Great.
Have you got a careers page on your website, mate? Because you're about to get a lot of
a
lot of applications.
I feel like applying.
We don't actually, so maybe we need to do that. We do working with Deakin Talent on some projects, and we have. I think purpose comes into this as well. That if a team's aligned on purpose, there's a lot of wellness that is created out of that because everybody is passionate about what they're doing, and it's amazing when you're enjoying what you do, you have more energy as well.
Yeah.
And people genuinely supporting each other, like that true team culture, not just talking about team culture, but building a team where people help to support and happy to support each
100%. And putting frameworks in place. Like we've got an employee assistance program. So if anybody is struggling with a mental health issue, we have a formal procedure in place where they can get some assistance with that, and we will pay for a psychology appointment for our team, which, we don't know anything about the details that's discussed. We just get an invoice from our psychology partner.
Absolutely.
When a team member has taken us up on that opportunity. So I think there's lots organisations can do.
And a lot of places do have pretty good employer well-being program and student well-being program. I know we have that at Deakin. So if you're listening and you're wondering, please have a look. Deakin does have pretty good well-being program as well.
Yep. Yeah.
I think I'm going to move into questions for everyone now. So for someone who feels stretched and depleted, where's the best place to start? Absolutely best place to start. I know we discussed that before.
Yeah, I mean, I think sleep is crucial, isn't it? Like we were talking about, sleep's the first thing that goes if you're overly stressed. Sleep is incredibly important for everybody's outlook and everything else. So, finding time to have a nap in the middle of the day or, or just that time to sort of, sit and meditate.
What if you have busy brain or you can't sleep for physiological reasons? Anything instead of sleep?
Well, I'm medicated. I have medicated sleep to get sleep. So
and sometimes it's okay talking to your healthcare professional, and asking for help.
Yeah.
You need help.
I went to the doctor just, I need sleep. I just needed sleep. And that was the only way through it, was to get some medication to help. And I wean off it every now and again and, go back to melatonin the natural way. And then I sort of wean off that. But then, if I've had a couple of bad nights sleep, I'm back on it. And then I sort of wean myself off again. It's I don't feel rested after a drug-induced sleep, but at least I got sleep.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's very interrupted, and I'm not that nice to be around.
Tristan, anything to add here? First thing, stretched out, burnout. What do you do?
I just, exhaustion just comes in so many different forms. I do tend to train harder when I'm trying to escape my workspace, but then I just get more exhausted anyway. So I don't really have a better answer for that except to say sleep's important.
Yep.
Personal time's important.
Absolutely.
Sitting on the couch is the least interesting or good thing that you can do for yourself. Like if you're outside, you're eating well and then going for a walk, having a swim. And I generally think that's really not very sustainable if you're not, I'm just going to say enter a race, enter an event, have a reason to be training and doing something which takes you away. And everyone would probably hear this and go, well, that's all just energy out. Doesn't that just make you more exhausted? And I think the opposite is true. The more you sleep well, eat well, but then go and exercise, because your body is like quite a finely honed machine that needs to get a workout. And if it's not getting a workout, then actually it's just getting a bit more sludgy, and all your brain starts to slow down even more, and you feel more exhausted.
Or get restless because you don't have that physical exhaustion. Your brain sometimes start looking for
So
issues.
Couch time, I think, is great on a Sunday, but every other day, don't do it. Yeah. It's a massive waste of time. You go and do something with yourself. You can go and engage with your community. It's awesome out there.
I was going to say, and disconnect as well. It's interesting. We haven't spoken much about technology, but talking about the mental load and our brains just feeling overwhelmed. We're constantly getting our phones out. We were all struggling to not have our phones on the table.
Here right now,
to properly disconnect. And I think for me, that's running. I get out for a 45-minute run, and I don't. That's my meditation, but for other people, it might just be not checking social media for an hour.
Absolutely. Or looking at the ocean or green or blue spaces. There's a lot of research, and we're building evidence. I work in mental health, where we understand that for humans, it's so important to disconnect with technology, stop looking at the screens, and look at the grass or trees or animals.
Yeah, I think it's also so it was an epiphany for me a couple of years ago to, I was always running either with music or a podcast or a book or something that was going on. And more recently, I've just turned all of that off and I will run and just absorb everything around me.
Could be hard to start with, it would be a bit challenging if you have a brain which keeps ticking.
Yes, like mine.
You might need something to...
Constant distraction, though.
Yeah.
But also, you're not necessarily resolving your problems if you're constantly distracting yourself from your problems. So it doesn't work for everyone, don't get me wrong, but I find that that's been very helpful for me in the last 2 years.
So trial and error until you find something which works for you, and then if it stops working, try something else. That I think that's where we're heading. We have some very interesting questions coming in from our audience, which is fantastic to see. So I'm going to start asking them. So we have a question, how can you establish clear boundaries with a manager? My boss sends me emails after hours and expects me to reply. Oh, that's becoming illegal in some countries.
Reply. Once you reply, then it's expected from then on in. You have... I reckon you set your boundaries. And actually, I think it's really bad of your manager for sending emails. I know people send emails, and then they have a scheduled time that it gets sent the next day at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, or on a Monday morning if they're doing them over the weekend, because it does guilt everyone else out.
Those Sunday night emails are the worst.
But how do you, so if I need to manage up, how do I do it? Any experience, Matt?
I think
I feel like you would know the answer.
I think it's about being proactive and having the conversation before there becomes an issue where an email came in and you didn't respond. So setting expectations. With your employer. I mean, I think we've all worked for some bosses that expect that, and it's a part of the organisation's culture. But now let's hope things will change more rapidly.
There's a lot more 360 reviews and stuff like that going on, right? Performance reviews that actually go up to your manager. Hopefully you feel confident that you could kind of feed that back sometimes.
Exactly. And fortunately the tools are getting better on that too, where Microsoft Teams will sort of say, do you want to send this during when your employee is working?
I didn't know
Maybe
that.
you need to show that to your boss. Yeah, there's that wonderful function in email. Yeah. All right. So we have another question with a focus on mental health. So one person asking here, and they feel like employees don't have mental health stamina or resilience they used prior to COVID. How can I be supportive when the work suffers, basically? So for resilience, mental health resilience, I think we're shifting into that, if I understand question correctly. So how do you build your own mental health to be resilient? From just do it. Practical examples.
So is this a manager wanting to help out their
I'm not quite sure, but I think if we talk about resilience, remember we had this wonderful conversation before we started about resilience. How do we remember our own resilience and how do we build resilience?
Well, I think resilience comes from having a goal. And so, are your goals aligned? Whether it's the manager that needs to, speak to their team, because I don't know, I worked in nightclubs for years, right? And I did that for $10 or $20 an hour, and it was the worst paid job, but one of my most fun jobs, right? And I did all of that because I loved the team that I worked with, and we had a lot of fun doing stuff together and just hanging out. And then I tried to take that as much as I can into my corporate space, where I respect the team that I have and I want to enjoy their company and work with them. And what you'll find is that when you're having a rough time, if the people around you understand why you're having a rough time, but we all still have goals to meet, then they'll kind of help you, nudge you, because next time it could be them, and that's a big thing. If you isolate that person and say, you're having a rough time, you're affecting everyone, then actually you're going to make it more and more difficult for them to feel supported and then to nurture them and then help them move forward. Yeah. And so you need to find a way to bring them into the team even more deeply, and see if you can bring them on the journey back to the goal that we're all trying to achieve. Sometimes that's a sales target, which is super boring, to be honest. Sometimes that's a big delivery and a project delivery. And give them the space if they need a day or two here and there to get right. But then find a way to get the team to get around them rather than isolate them. I think that's a really big deal from a management point of view. As a person, you kind of have to, an individual, you have to ask for that help sometimes. I'm having a rough time. I don't know how I'm going to get all of this done. How can I want to help you achieve the goal. I want the team to get to the goal. Can you give me some space or advice on how I move forward? So that's requesting mentorship, which is not always an easy thing to ask for either.
But asking for help in teams, in teamwork, that should be quite natural, isn't it? And if you need a bit of a space, asking for that space.
Yeah.
Jenny, what about you? Mental health, resilience, support?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just got to be transparent in those circumstances, really. But I guess resilience as an athlete is pretty daily. It's a daily thing.
It's more body resilience when athletes kind of used to pushing themselves. Yeah. What about mental health resilience? Where do you get that to keep pushing?
I think you learn it, and it's not something you're really born with. You just learn it because it's on repeat. and you get better at it. You just have to reset your mind for the next day. Like if you're competing that you got 2 days of competition, you performed really bad, you got to get out there and perform the next day. You really have to get over it pretty quickly, learn from it, and then take something new into the next day, change something, what happened, why did it fall apart, So it's just you have to change your mindset pretty quickly sometimes. Sometimes you're allowed to have those pity parties, and for me, but you do have to put yourself back in line.
Put them into timeline, I'm going to have this pity party for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're going to have it for a few days because you got a week.
It's okay too, yeah.
But, it's what your goals are. It comes back to your goals and what are your goals. And look, maybe your goal has just fallen apart. Okay, so how do you reset that? How do you change but still get it? Do you need to change the direction, the timeline? What is it that you need to change to, maybe you have to change the whole goal completely because it's just not going to work. That's fine too. It didn't work. It failed. Great. What was your learnings? What's the next goal?
Love that.
Reset.
I love that because I think we so sometimes program ourselves for success. We're scared to fail, but failure, you're going to learn so much more from a failure. Don't you agree?
I was going to say, I think it's learning how to fail, isn't it, over time? I reflect on my early days in the media career at News Corp where I was salesperson.
Well, that would have been hard.
It was hard. And you get, you pick up the phone, it's a 10-second phone call. No, gone. Okay, on to the next one. And you learn that it's okay that, I had 10 people hang up on me today, but that's okay. So it's about sort of, learning how to fail and also learning that if you zoom out and have perspective, that actually it's fine.
I love that. I love that. That's fantastic. Another very interesting question. Oh, I love that one. So how do you recognize the difference? So the difference between being challenged in your career, in your work, or being genuinely burned out? Challenge versus burnt out. How do you know?
Oh, I enjoy challenge. That's how I know. I don't enjoy being burnt out. Burnt out's, you're absolutely just tanked. You got nothing.
Yeah.
And when you're being challenged, normally you're driven. You're excited. You're into it. It might put you out of your comfort zone, but that should be a very completely different feeling from being burnt out. That's...
I hide from things when I'm burnt out.
Okay.
Like I don't want to think about it. I will sleep more. Do you know what I mean? And I will go and do something that is not related to what I'm doing because I'm just tired. I'm tired of looking at it. But when I'm challenged, this is really stressful. I remember this feeling, and it used to be so much harder when I was younger. And, I'm being challenged in ways that I didn't expect. And I don't like being outside my comfort zone. I'm scared, know, but I know this is a good opportunity, so I should keep going. Now I'm like, that's that feeling again. I'm being really challenged to have to learn new things. But I'm a big fan of constant learning. Like, why would you stop learning at university? Why wouldn't you take the opportunity in your next role to learn something new? I also use that in my career. I'm basically in every job that I'm in for 5 years. And I take a decent step in a different direction in every next role that I take. And in this circumstance, it's gone from, I was working at Shopify for 5 years. It's a big platform play. It's really, really interesting. A lot of people know the brand. They didn't know it when I started working there. Everyone knew it by the time I left. And now I work in an insurtech business that's called Cover Genius. It's an Australian kind of, wonderful success story as far as insurance technology goes, but it's insurance, and insurance is hard to learn, and it's kind of a bit dry. But I've learned so much about regulatory issues around the world and different verticals, and all of that has really stretched me. I'm looking forward in a year and a half to going to do something else.
Something different.
But at the same time, I've learned a lot. And if my career was just doing the same thing over and over and over, I'd be pretty frustrated because I'm not growing and I'm not asking myself to be a different person 5 years from now, which is what I want.
You do need, so if I understand you correctly, you said right in the beginning, it's quite important to challenge yourself, and with time you will recognize the feeling, where is it I'm just tired, and where, that's that feeling of challenging, and I know it's going to be okay. I just need to push a little bit.
in my first year in any job, I'm not the best employee because I'm still learning everything. In my second year, I know how to do it and I'm delivering on what the expectations are. In my third year, I'm probably over-delivering and it's pretty cool because everything's going really, really well. In my fourth year, I'm bored and I'm looking at the door. And in my fifth year, I need to be finding a path. I'm still delivering everything and I'm probably doing some mentoring and I'm probably helping other people. But by year 5, I need to find something else to do because I'm literally just getting
And
bored
it's okay too. Changing careers, it's fine. Some people need that to thrive and to perform. So, Matt, if I can switch to you and anything from you on difference between being challenged and being burnt out.
I think the same task could do both sometimes. So the same task, depending on how well you believe in what you're doing and you align with the direction that the organisation is going, and if you have an understanding of the purpose of what you're doing, a task can challenge you in a really positive way, whereas sometimes a task, if you don't believe in what you're doing, can lead to burnout. You're doing a lot of work for a reason that you're not fully aligned with. And maybe that's an opportunity to think about, are your values aligned with the organisation? And maybe it's time to look at moving into a different industry, something that will challenge you in a more positive way.
That's so important, and never to be too scared to change. Am I right?
Yeah. We most young people will now have a number of different careers, and with everything that's happening with technology at the moment, I think the future, there's going to be so many new jobs, and we will be doing many different things, and hopefully finding those things that challenge you in a good way.
Excellent. I like where we kind of wrapping up because we are coming up to wrapping up this session. So, but before we close in, I really would love to hear one final takeaway from each of you. Matt, can I start with you, please?
Sure. I think, it comes down to the word that we started with, which was finding ways to be sustainable with your career. So I think it's going to be different for everybody. Some people, their escape is gardening. Other people, it's running. Mine's a bit of both. So just find that thing that you love that isn't work. And it gives you that space to enjoy something. And then probably the final thing is just fitness for me has been just fantastic way to be able to have the energy to do what I want to do. So if, you can start small, get out there and walk. If you're not currently doing anything, that's a great way to start.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Jenny, final takeaway. Put everything into, perfect answer for us.
Perfect answer. Is there such thing? It's, very similar. It's that sustainable living, and it really, for me, over the last 12 months has all been about sleep, eating well, hydrating. And if that's all in a line and I'm doing that well, everything around my health and well-being is well. I do go to the gym early before work starts because otherwise it doesn't get done. I'm too busy with work or kids running around in the afternoon. I think it's the same having those 2 out of 3 things in your life going well, because I had definitely have experienced some things in the past where I've definitely had two of those things not going well, or 3. And you're just not putting your best foot forward. So, I think that's very, very key.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jenny. Tristan, words of wisdom, please.
I just think always try to be the best version of yourself. And the best version of yourself is generally something that gets triggered by you doing good things for yourself. And if you're doing good things for yourself, you're a happier person, so you'll do more. Mine's running. I like running in different parts of the world. So I've always entered events that are somewhere else. And I'll travel to that place, and I have run across the Sahara Desert, run around Mont Blanc, run across, the Colorado Rockies, all of that kind of stuff. So these are just destinations to go and look at new stuff and get perspective on the life that I want to have and the person I want to be. And as it turns out, that's inspiring for the people around me who then want to spend more time with me, and we do cool stuff together, and then everyone's kind of doing more stuff. And then you take that attitude into your work. You can't fail in your workspace if you're energetic and you're a happy
if you
person.
can't travel and fly to your next running destination, I loved what you said earlier, just zooming out and getting a bit of a perspective on everything. I think it's so important. Thank you so much. We need to wrap up, but Matt, Jenny and Tristan, thank you so much for coming in. It's been very enjoyable hour. So great.
Thank you.
On to next stuff. So, but this brings us to the end of our series. And thank you so much for joining us today and for being part of Level Up this week. So we covered a lot, and hopefully you'll be leaving with some ideas which you can actually put into practice, not just think about. And if anything, I really encourage you to pause and reflect. What was the most important for you this week, and what would you like to take forward into your life? A big thank you to all our speakers for sharing their time, their insights, to our live stream and behind the scenes crew. They've been absolutely wonderful. And thank you for showing up and being part of it. If you missed any sessions or want to revisit the highlights, please keep an eye on your inbox because all the sessions being recorded. So we're going to be sharing recordings and resources with you. Thank you very much for being part of it.